This is QTV Nightly News and I am Jenna Posonko. Thank you for joining us. And a reminder that you can also join us on Q Radio 103.3 FM here at the main news headlines. The Gambia Immigration Department has intercepted 551 migrants during a 5-week operation, with officials revealing that most of those apprehended are non-Gambians. The monetary policy rate of the Gambia will be maintained at 17%, as announced by the Central Bank Governor on Tuesday during the quarterly Monetary Policy Committee meeting. On Wednesday, the Gambia Revenue Authority convened a day-long stakeholder meeting to review and validate its taxpayer charter, aimed at strengthening the country's overall tax administration. In international news, in a significant ceremony on Wednesday, China commemorated the 80th anniversary of its victory over Japanese aggression, marking the end of a war that concluded the rise of fascism. Much of the rest of the world marks this as the end of World War II. And in sports news, sports coach Jonathan McKinstry is focused on securing all 3 points against Kenya on Friday in a crucial World Cup qualifier, despite acknowledging the tough challenge ahead. Those were the main headlines, and now the news in detail. Tuesday. Thank you for staying with us. This is QTV News and I am Jenna Posonko. The Gambia Immigration Department has intercepted 551 migrants during a 5-week operation, with officials revealing that most of those apprehended are non-Gambians. The development has heightened concerns over porous borders and the growing risk of human trafficking. Julden Jai has the rest of that story.
In just over a month, the Gambia Immigration Department, in coordination with other security units, carried out these operations along the country's coastal and inland routes. The operation started on July 26 in Gunjur, where 21 migrants recruited from Casamas were intercepted. Investigations revealed they had been deceived by organizers, posing as facilitators with no real arrangements for their passage. A day later, 30 migrants were intercepted at Gunjur Beach, where officers also seized 36 gallons of fuel and food items suspected to be for sea travel preparations. Last month, 42 migrants were discovered in Mandinari, reportedly under the coordination of an agent based in Morocco. Subsequent operations in Burfoot, Sambuya, Gunjur and Tambana led to further arrests, exposing a wider network of agents operating across Senegal, Mali and the Gambia. Several suspects are still at large. Seaman Low, the public relations officer of the Gambia Immigration Department, further explains.
By gender aggregation, we realized that the male migrants were 447 of them were all male, and 104 were female amongst them. And when we look at the aggregations of their nationalities, we realized that out of these 447 migrants, we only had 87 of them that were Gambians, 305 of them were Senegalese nationals, 127 were Guinean nationals, and 30 fall under other nationalities within the Gambia as well.
Since the beginning of the year, the Gambia Immigration Department has carried out 36 interceptions involving 1,343 migrants. Of these, only 298 are Gambians. A figure the GID says highlights the country's growing role as a regional transit hub for irregular migration. According to Seaman Law, the current legal framework remains inadequate to address the complex challenges of cross-border trafficking.
So from January to date, we have all these cases on the table. No, nothing has been taken to court. So that becomes a challenge we're also facing as we engage in most of these activities. There could be other factors, such as citizens sometimes being able to keep things to themselves without engaging officials. For instance, we have observed in North Bank region of recent that most of these cases living are in the North Bank region. If it is around Katong, Tanje or Gunjur, we easily get info from people about these cases. But North Bank had not been very supportive in some of these occasions. The recent boat that had left the source of the Gambia and capsized in Mauritania is a case in point.
The Gambia Immigration Department is calling for swift legislative reforms and stronger cross-border cooperation, warning that without urgent action, traffickers will keep exploiting legal loopholes while fragile coastal communities remain exposed as vulnerable transit points. For QTV News, I am Julden Yai.
The monetary policy rate of the Gambia will be maintained at 17%. This decision was announced by the Central Bank Governor on Tuesday during the quarterly Monetary Policy Committee meeting, following an assessment of domestic and global economic conditions and the near-term economic outlook. More in this report. The Monetary Policy Committee is the main decision-making body at the Central Bank that sets monetary policy to achieve macroeconomic objectives such as price stability and economic growth. Its primary responsibility is to determine the appropriate policy, interest rate, and implement monetary measures. The committee's report highlighted that domestically, the Gambian economy is showing resilience, supported by robust remittances, tourism and investment. The foreign exchange market continues to be stable, supported by improved liquidity conditions and ample gross international reserves.
The Gambian economy maintained strong momentum, registering 5.3% growth in 2024. This performance was driven by gains in the financial services, trade, construction, and mining. Private remittance inflows and public investment also continue to support domestic demand.
The committee reported that domestic price pressures continue to be moderate. Inflation eased to 7.2% in June 2025, the lowest since late 2021. It, however, edged up to 7.5% in July due to an uptick in food inflation, and which mirrors the volatility in global food prices, which increased to 8.5% in July from 7.9% in June 2025.
Gross international reserves strengthened, reaching $502.4 million by end July 2025, compared to $486.6 million at end March 2025.
The exchange rate of Dalasi showed depreciation in the second quarter of 2025, despite an improvement in foreign currency supply conditions. From March to June 2025, the Dalasi weakened by 0.8% against the US dollar, 7.6% against the euro, 5.0% against the British pound, and 1.5% against the CFA franc.
The committee decided to, 1, the monetary policy rate, MPR, is maintained at 17%. The required reserve of commercial banks is maintained at 13%. The interest rate on the standing deposit facility is maintained at 4%. The interest rate on the standing lending facility remains at 18%. That is the MPR plus 1 percentage points.
The Central Bank of the Gambia welcomes the expansion of fintech and mobile money operators in the Gambia, reinforcing progress in financial inclusion. By end of June 2025, registered accounts stood at 4.5 million, of which 2.4 million were active. Cash-in transactions amounted to $20.4 billion, while cash-out transactions totaled to $20.8 billion, reflecting the growing use of digital financial services in the Gambia. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Bosonko. Moving on, in a significant move aimed at strengthening public trust, improving transparency, and enhancing the country's overall tax administration framework, the Gambia Revenue Authority on Wednesday convened a day-long stakeholder review and validation of its taxpayer charter. And Sumana Esonyasi attended the event, and this is his report.
The validation event brought together key stakeholders from government institutions and the private sector, most notably large taxpayers such as QCell, to deliberate on the final draft of the Charter. The Charter outlines the rights and obligations of taxpayers while reaffirming the GRA's commitment to service, excellence and accountability. Addressing stakeholders, Commissioner General Yankuba Dabo implores them to critically review the Charter, emphasizing its critical role in building trust between the tax authority and the public. Describing the Charter as a guiding document, He notes that it provides a clear framework for taxpayers about their responsibilities and ensures that they understand the GRA's obligations to them, and hopes that the institution of the Charter will help foster a culture of voluntary compliance and mutual respect.
We are also have rules that we have to go by. It is not that we can do, my officers cannot do everything that they want to do. They cannot abuse the taxpayers, neither the taxpayers can abuse them, because there are rules that we have to follow. And now this taxpayer charter is clearly stated what are the obligations of the taxpayers and what is expected of tax administration. So I believe it is a very important document that will serve all of us, both the taxpayers and the tax collectors.
For Deputy Commissioner General S.R. Jallo, the Charter's implementation couldn't be timelier, saying it will serve as a reference point for both tax officials and taxpayers, ensuring consistency and integrity in service delivery, adding that it will serve as a blueprint for the GRA, guiding the authority in maintaining high standards in all its engagements with the public.
Your inputs are desirable in everything that we do, so that you don't only assist us in terms of our effectiveness and efficiency as a tax administration, but the inputs we also receive will go a long way in terms of shaping policies that would affect you directly.
Speaking earlier, Samba Sala, project manager of GRA's tax integrated system, and Alaji Jallo, director of revenue and tax policy at the Ministry of Finance, highlighted the Charter's significance in aligning national tax administration with international best practices, and urged stakeholders to fully engage with the contents of the document to ensure it serves its intended purpose.
GRA thinks that the taxpayers are very important. They are our main stakeholders, one of our main stakeholders, and therefore whatever we are doing that affects them, we will want them to be involved from the starting.
We have to move away from a culture of fear, coercion, from the taxpayers towards the tax authority, and build a culture of trust, responsibility, and shared objective.
As the GRA moves toward full validation and implementation of the Charter, there is optimism among stakeholders that the initiative will contribute to greater transparency, improve taxpayer relations, and contribute to a more robust revenue collection system. Ansmane Sonyasi for KTV News.
From that story by Ansmane Sonyasi on tax administration, we'll now go for a short commercial break, and when we return, we have international and sports news stories. Do stay.
Immunisation bàññaaku mooy li gën a wóor te dal xel ci aar xale yi ci feebar mbaa jàngoro yu mel ni ngas ñu naan ko measles, feebaru saxat su bon si di tuberculosis, polio, feebari sedda ñu naan ko pneumonia, cervical cancer, tétanos ak yeneeni jàngoro. Xale bu juddu dafa soxla ay pengu si saasi mbaa bés bu mu juddu, maanaam balaa mooy am 20 waxtu ak ñeent. Am na solo lool xale yi mbaa tuut tànk yi góor ak jigéen jël pengu yiñ leen tegtal ci waxtu bu ñu ko war a jëlee comme ni ñu ko bindee ci seen kayiti noosi mbaa infant welfare card. Xale yépp war nañoo am bépp pengu bu ñu soxla, bokk na ci xale yi laago yi. Xale yi war nañoo jël te matal bépp pengu bu ñu war a am ci seeni njëlbeeni at ak ay yeneeni pengu bu ñu duggee ci seen ñaareeli at. Am na ci pengu yoo xam ne xale yi dinañu ko jël ay yooni yoon ngir gën leen a mun a aar. Ñuy ñaax waajuri ak ñi yore xale yi di leen toppatoo ne saa yu ñuy dem lopitaan ñu yóbbaale kayti noosi xale yi mbaa infant welfare card ngir am lu wóor ci mbir immunisation bi mbaa ñàkku xale yi mun ngeen a dem ci bérébu fajeekaay bi leen gën a jege. Xibaar bii ñi leen ko indil mooy waa Ministry of Health ànd ak UNICEF, Gavi, WHO ak seen yeneeni naataango.
Supersonics Islamic Insurance ñooy jël benn digital insurance provider ci Gambia bu ànd ak Sharia. ñoo leen isil wécceeku technologie yu xarañ ànd ak dal ba seen bunti kër yi. amal nañ leen bépp façon ngi insurance service boo soxla pour ngeen mun a am xel bu dal ak kaaraange saa yoo leen ko soxlee su fekkee yaa ngi kër ci yoon wala ci business. ak Supersonics Islamic Insurance Limited ñëwal nga bokk ci suñ bànneexi liggéey nga xam fu ñu feetoo oo ñu ci +220 5132 319 5132 318 wala 5132 315 wala nga email ñu at supersonicsinsurance.com wala book nga seetu ñu suñ website bi www.supersonicsinsurance.com wala nga seet si ñu Beka Plaza 56 Liberation Avenue Banjul.
Welcome back from that short commercial break if you're just tuning in. Now let's take a look at international news. In a significant ceremony on Wednesday, China commemorated the 80th anniversary of its victory over Japanese aggression, marking the end of a war that concluded the rise of fascism. The event honored the sacrifices of millions and celebrated the country's long-term resilience. Usman Jata reports from Beijing.
The historic and colorful 80th anniversary commemoration began with the sound of cannons and a solemn march by the People's Liberation Army, a moment of reflection on one of the world's darkest history. President Xi Jinping delivered a special tribute to the soldiers who fought to restore China's sovereignty 80 years ago and reaffirmed China's commitment to global peace.
尊敬的各位国家元首、政府首脑。
Before the grand parade began, Xi inspected the PLA formation, praising the men and women who have selflessly served their country.
同志们好！
The parade held in Tiananmen Square, the same location where Chairman Mao Zedong proclaimed the founding of the People's Republic of China in 1945, was the highlight of the day. Soldiers marched in flawless formation, honoring the over 35 million Chinese lives lost during the 1937-1945 war. The parade was a symbol of the nation's transformation from a war-torn country to a global superpower. Attended by global leaders including Russian President Vladimir Putin, the event showcased China's modern military power with cutting-edge tanks, missiles and aircraft on display. Among the spectators were the war veterans whose sacrifice remained ingrained in the national consciousness. The day was not only a demonstration of military strength, but also a celebration of resilience and unity. Fighter jets painted the sky with the colors of the Chinese flag, symbolizing national pride. 80 years later, China stands as a powerful force, honoring its past while looking toward a future of peace and prosperity. The nation remains steadfast in its commitment to never forget the sacrifices made for a peaceful, free future. Osman Jata, QTV News, Beijing, China.
Also in international news, sub-Saharan Africa is witnessing an unprecedented rise in its elderly population, with the number of people aged 60 and above expected to reach 163 million by 2050. Yet despite this demographic shift, the region struggles with fragile social protection systems, limited healthcare access and rising economic hardship amongst its aging citizens. Aissatou Barry has the rest of that.
The region recorded around 43 million people aged 60 and above. Today, that figure has risen significantly, with projections showing it will double by 2050. The number of older adults is growing faster in sub-Saharan Africa than in any other region globally, with projections indicating a 15-fold increase in older people by 2100. This surge presents pressing challenges for governments, already stretched thin by demands for youth employment, healthcare, and economic development. Analysts say existing social protection structures are failing, to keep pace with the growing need of adults. Only a fraction of the elderly receive pensions, and in countries where they exist, the benefits remain extremely limited. Healthcare systems are also under a strain. Traditionally designed to combat infectious diseases, many lack the capacity to respond to chronic illnesses and age-related conditions such as hypertension, diabetes, and dementia. In some rural areas, older people are denied care altogether, while stigma and lack of awareness surrounding conditions like dementia compound the problem. With limited pensions and savings, many elderly people are forced to remain in informal labor, such as collecting firewood, weaving mats, or farming, well into advanced age, often earning less than $1 a day. Meanwhile, rapid urban migration and changing family structures weaken traditional safety nets, leaving older citizens who remain in rural areas with little support. As sub-Saharan Africa's elderly population continues to grow, the region is faced with a crucial test. Will it adapt to its fragile system to protect its aging citizens, or risk deep inequality or vulnerability? Strengthening healthcare, pensions, and community-based support will be vital in ensuring that Africa's golden years are lived with dignity rather than in poverty and neglect. The African Union has recognized these trends, endorsing the African Common Position on the rights of older people and working towards ratifying a protocol on the rights of older persons in Africa to address the vulnerabilities and promote the rights of older people in the region. Aissatou Bari, QTV News.
From that story by Aissatou Bari, let's now take a look at what is happening in the world of sports. Scorpions coach Jonathan McKinstry is focused on securing all 3 points against Kenya on Friday in a crucial World Cup qualifier, despite acknowledging the tough challenge ahead. Alusise has the rest of that.
The Scorpions of the Gambia will lock horns with Harambee Stars of Kenya in the crucial 2026 World Cup qualifiers at Nairobi's Kasarani Stadium on Friday. Both sides see this encounter as a pivotal opportunity to boost their qualification opportunities. In Group F, Ivory Coast currently tops the table with 16 points, followed by Gabon with 15 points and Burundi with 10 points. Kenya sits in 4th place with 6 points, while the Gambia remains in 5th with just 4 points. Scorpions coach Jonathan McKinstry, who previously coached in the Kenyan League before taking charge of the Scorpions, remains confident, saying the aim is to collect the 3 points.
Yeah, look, it's always nice to come back, but ultimately we're here for business. You know, for me, we can enjoy it afterwards. The aim is to try and collect 3 points. We know that's not going to be easy because we expect there to be a very sort of hostile environment. The Kenyan supporters will come out in their tens of thousands to support the Harambee Stars. We've seen that through the Chan tournament, you know, very well supported games here at Kasarani. Obviously, Kasarani holds lots of good memories for me. I think my own last 2 games here were trophy winning games in terms of the Charity Shield and the final of the league a couple of years ago. But all of that doesn't count for anything. We've got to go on and put a performance and look to try and win the game.
Attention will also be on informed forward Yankuba Minte, who is coming into the game with high spirits after delivering an incredible performance in Brighton's 2-1 win over Manchester City in the English Premier League last weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult one because Kenya have the home advantage, as I said earlier, and they have their home fans and stuff like that. But it's not going to be easy. We know that, and we need to be prepared for the game. Yeah. The most important thing is like you have to focus and then train hard. It's not easy to get in the Premier League. Although when you look like 3-4 years ago, I was in Gambia, but now I'm playing in the top level, which is not easy. The journey was really hard. But for me, all I do is like focus on God first, and then second is training and to listen to your coaches and then know what to do.
The first leg between the two sides ended in a thrilling 3-3 draw, with both countries chasing their maiden ticket for the global tournament that will take place next year. Friday's face-off promised to be a high-stake battle as the road to the USA, Mexico, and Canada 2026 intensifies. Kenya's Harambee Stars, coached by South Africa's Benny McCarthy, have also been in training and have expressed equal optimism ahead of what is a crucial match for both sides. The losing side may as well write off their chances of progressing further. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
Also in sports news, Basending United emerged victorious in the QCell-sponsored 24-team Basse Sub-Zone tournament, overpowering Tambasangsang United 3-0 at the Basse Mini Stadium. The win crowned them champions, capping off an impressive campaign highlighted by a dominant performance in the final. Zamba Kamara's report is narrated by Kabasuso.
The final kicked off with a vibrant cultural music from fans at the Park Basse Mini Stadium. Basending United's number 10, Mohamed Suso, broke the deadlock with a stunning goal within the first 15 minutes, opening the floodgates for more attacking opportunities with their 1-0 lead intact. In the first half battle, Tambasangsang United struggled to find a breakthrough as Basending United held firm going into the break. 15 minutes into the second half, Basending United's number 7, nicknamed Mbappe, doubled the advantage, leaving Tambasangsang United in disarray. The stadium erupted with the overwhelming noise of celebration, as fans anticipated more action. They were not to be disappointed as Mbappe converted a penalty for his second goal and to extend his side's lead to 3-0. Which was how it stayed till the end. Bubakar Mane, chairman of Basse Sub-Zone Committee, expressed gratitude.
I am very happy. It's not only my district that is participating in my tournament. We have the Tumana district participating, we have the Jimara, we have the Kantora participating. So unfortunately, the Kantora people, there was an accident that occurred, that's why they withdrew from the tournament. But definitely there's nothing special. We treat everybody the same. It's not a special one. Hadn't been, it's a different tournament, you say it's a special one, but it's still the same. I'm happy for them. It's their first year in this tournament, first year participating here, and they're up to the final. Definitely, QCell, they are doing very well. They are doing extremely well for about till now. Like the trophies, every year, if you can have a new trophy from them every year, that will help us a lot. QCell, they are doing extremely well for us. They are definitely doing well.
Mohamed Suso, captain of Basending FC, reflected on his side's triumph.
We gave it our all, training morning, afternoon, and evening. That's exactly why the cup belongs to us.
Alfousseni Touré, the head coach of the victorious Basending FC, was delighted at the victory.
We worked tirelessly and earned this victory. Going unbeaten throughout the league proves our strength. We are unstoppable, and this win is rightfully ours.
So we deserve the victory.
Yaya Silla and Bubakar Jao, the captain and coach respectively of Tambasangsang FC, also reflected on their team's defeat.
Because we play very good football, and I have a belief in my boys. Because, we fight together, we check each other, come like, alignment is a regular, I don't know.
Because from day one up to final.
From day one up to the finals, we played well. This is a new experience for us, and at times during the game, some of my players seemed lost, which caused a few challenges.
The sponsors, Gambia's most innovative network QCell, awarded $75,000 to champions Basending United, $35,000 to runners-up Tambasangsang United in the battle for third place between losing semi-finalists Canon and Kute Jumbulo. The latter team prevailed and walk away with $15,000. For QTV News, Pakaba Suso.
Congratulations to all of them. I'm afraid that is all we have time for. Join us at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. Thanks for watching.